Welcome to Smash Writing. I'm Paul. This is Justin. We are back with another original versus remake. And it's prom season. So why not talk about serial
It's so
killers?
weird to say it's prom season. You're 35.
34. And gee, nice way to have a good personality here. But it's prom season, so why not talk about killers? First up,
You know what's funny is I actually own the remake. It was one of those cash and culture kind of deals where it was like buy DVDs for $2.50 a piece.
it was in the bin. You were just
Yeah, I'm
like,
like, oh, $2.50. So,
like, oh, okay, cool. It's
10 years later, it finally became relevant.
more like 16 years later. We are talking about, of course, the remake versus original Prom Night of 1980 and Prom Night of 2008. Go and kick us off, Justin, with Prom Night 1980.
Well, because 1980 starts us off with a twisted game of hide and go seek among kids.
Fun game, Hines.
Yeah. But three more, they were playing some kind of like abandoned asylum or institution, something like that.
Is there any other way?
No, that is where I'd play hide and go seek.
I would agree. I would agree.
But three other kids show up: Robin, Wendy, and Bobby, I believe his name was.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin goes in, the other two leave, and they automatically like turn on her. I guess she's obviously not the popular one here. And they torment her all the way up to against the window, and she falls out of it and perishes on the bottom. And Wendy, the one friend, makes them all swear to never speak of this. They're
Okay,
not all
first
going
off,
to jail.
that they wouldn't. It would have been a bad accident and they're kids.
They're kids. They don't know any better. They just don't want to get in trouble.
Right, but they were clever enough to go, let's rule number one of this new club. We don't talk about the murder.
But after they flee the scene, we do see someone showing up, and then we jump to night later on that night, and the cops are arriving and everything, and they automatically suspect the one guy. He is a offender, we'll say, for YouTube's sake.
Mm-hmm.
He's a certain type of offender.
We get that points.
But which is insane to me because there are at least two witnesses. You know, the brother and the sister. They know who was there. Why didn't neither one of them say anything?
Yeah, they did not make the pack.
Yeah, they weren't a part of the no talking pack.
Right.
They know the other kids were there. Whatever. We jump ahead to 6 years, and we meet their families still in various degrees of mourning and everything. And his name was not Bobby. It was Alex. The brother's name was Alex.
Okay.
And they're discussing prom dates, particularly him because he doesn't have one. She thinks that he needs to go get a prom date, you know. And the dad is the principal of the school. So from there, we meet all of the pack kids. We meet Jude. They're all getting creepy phone calls. Jude in particular. Why did you get into that van? With a guy named Slick.
I mean, is that not the way to go?
Yeah, I mean, why walk to school? You know, I can get into a creeper van.
I mean, times were different back in the 70s and 80s, you know. Simple times.
That's why we have a stack of cold cases from those decades, you know? They say it's so much safer. You want to talk about cold case files here?
It's safer because the stats are not complete.
Yes, it's just because you never found the Corridos doesn't mean they weren't there. Because I hear about that all the time, you know. Oh, it's so much safer back in my day. Was it? Was it really?
No, it wasn't. It was just because the rules and evaluations and cases and everything was not in place back then.
Those crime statistics fall on us because we solved your cases from 30 years ago, but because it's solved now, it lands on us.
There you go.
Anyway. We meet the one kid. What's her brother's name, Bobby, or was it Alex? Now I'm confusing myself. I mixed up the names. But Kim's boyfriend's dad is the chief, and he's ends up having to recollect about that day because the guy who they thought did it. We get a flashback to that night. They chased him down in his car, and he crashed and caught fire. And today he's still disfigured, but today he's escaped the institution, the hospital he was staying at. And they're starting to panic because, oh no, what is he coming back here? And then they find the body of the nurse at the old institution. Meanwhile, we're still following the kids around. They have casual sexual assault at the school.
But it was a safer time back then.
Why is Lou 3 times the size of everyone else?
No idea.
That dude is a gorilla of a human being.
No idea, actually. They just had to cast him, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah. Alex, the boyfriend. I'm guessing the boyfriend's name is Alex. I'm guessing Bobby must have been her brother.
Okay.
I screwed that up completely with the names.
So keep going on with the plot, I gotcha.
Anyway, he almost confesses to what happened to her sister. And it's kind of twisted that he's dating her, of all people. Like, you killed her sister and stayed quiet on it all these years, and now you're dating her. Like, that's gotta come up later, right? Right? Nick, alright. Nick is her brother's name. Sorry.
No, Nick is the boyfriend's name.
Oh,
Alex.
for God's sakes.
Yeah, Nick is the boyfriend, Alex is the killer. See, if you would take regular notes...
I thought I did. I just got those names backward. We're just going to call them bro and boyfriend.
No, because if you got the names flipped, describing it is going to be even more perverted.
But there is also a background feud going on here with Kim and Wendy. And Wendy gets real pissed because Kim's boyfriend declined her invitation to prom and everything and shutting her away. So she ends up hooking up with Lou, who's angry at the Hammond family because he's been suspended for the sexual assault.
That he's innocent. He thinks he's innocent.
We were just goofing around. No big deal. And they've got something horrible planned for prom night. But prom night is now upon us. And we have to take a pause in this movie to have an extra long disco dance scene.
God, yeah.
I didn't think the movie needed a disco dance. I don't know about you.
No, it really didn't.
Kelly, one of the kids in the pack, her and her boyfriend go off. Maybe get some real fun emotional manipulation there when she won't put out for him. And he ends up storming off and leaving her alone, which is perfect time for the killer to step in and take her out.
You don't give it up, you get out.
I'd like to know how the killer found Jude. Because Jude and Slick seem to have left the school entirely. They're just in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Like, how did he find them?
Plot hole. There, he probably wouldn't have.
But he ends up attacking Jude, taking her out. Slick tries to drive away. A fight scene takes place here. And the killer takes out Slick next. And then back to the school, where he attacks Wendy. The chase scene breaks out. Why didn't she run to the dance?
That would make the most logical sense.
Like, she runs everywhere else except for the dance. But she ends up getting taken out too with an axe. Well, it's now time to announce prom king and queen. And Kim goes first, and they're about to announce the boyfriend as the king, but Lou attacks him from behind and puts the crown on. I guess that's their big joke they're going to be pulling on her. But because they're in the shadows and everything, the killer doesn't see it's Lou. It's just sees the guy with the crown and thinks it's the boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever his name gets called, Lou's head bounds out into the platform. And everyone panics. Everyone starts fleeing for the door. Kim finds the boyfriend who's still stumbling around. He knocked down the killer. But the killer gets back up and is now fighting between the two of them. And Kim whacks him in the head with the axe. And there's a moment of recognition. And he stumbles out and outside where everyone is, and he starts having a breakdown, and he removes his mask, and it's the brother. And the
Shocker.
brother is the one from the very beginning who found his sister. And I guess he's been planning this day since.
8 long years.
6.
Whatever.
And that's where the movie cuts off. Actually, the lieutenant shoots him.
Like how you... Oh, yeah. He gets shot, too.
Who cares? I get, I get that the tropes had to start somewhere, but it would have been so much more interesting having Wendy be the one who was remorseful, because it was her plan all along
Yeah,
to
it
stay
was
quiet.
her. Because she spoke up, like, instantly. Guys, silence.
It was like having her just be the preppy snob was boring and cliche. I'm guessing the trope probably started here. But
Obviously.
yeah.
You got away with murder. What else is there to get away with? Though, it would have been a straight accident. But she was already twisted in the head to come up with the Don't Tell Club. Like, come on now.
None of these characters felt like they had any substance whatsoever as characters. And you had a shining, really great story arc here with the Kim's boyfriend having to like confess what he did here.
Yeah.
It really feels like he just.
By the
got
way, I
off
helped push
scotch
your sister
with-
off the.
we scared your sister out of a window and just
and she
left her
died.
there.
Yeah. But
I
guess
don't
what?
know if it was a fault on like no, I don't want to say fault on the job, but you can like momentarily see Wendy's still like breathing there, so it would have been like, was she still alive when she hit the ground, and they could have saved her later on,
Right.
and that would have been more dirt to throw on him, but we didn't go that route.
No. Jamie Lee Curtis as Kim, as like the lead. I felt like she wasn't like almost treated as like an afterthought character.
Yeah, she doesn't like none of these characters have
A-
agency among them.
Right.
They're really just here.
And I was like thinking like, Jamie Lee Curtis is often recalled the original Scream Queen or
I don't know how. I've never been a Jamie Lee Curtis fan. I don't get it.
well,
I don't get her
well,
popularity.
well, she's a decent actress. Maybe not in the horror genre as much, but
And she's fine. I'm not saying she's bad or anything.
right. I just think like, for everything like in the 80s, definitely horrors like she seemed to be a part of, she was like a focus point, and then you have her as like Kim. Okay. Like she didn't like her biggest role was like, it's messed up, but she hit her brother in the head with an axe.
Yeah.
Who was killing the people that killed their sister. I agree. I did like the story. Like I did enjoy like they had a good idea here.
I just think that this is a half story. There are arcs here and ideas here that go unfinished and untapped.
Right. I mean, I guess for the sake of prom night,
This is also the most pathetic killer I've ever seen in a movie.
he really was.
Good lord. Slick almost beat him.
Like if you're going to try to kill someone, you gotta like be able to truly overpower them.
You had like this weird edit with Wendy where I don't even know where he got the axe from, but suddenly it's in the countertop and like honestly, if Wendy just focused a little bit, she would have beat him too. He is the
Kim could have
least-
beaten her.
Yeah,
Beaten him.
This is the like you've been preparing for this. You had a list, and you were making prank calls, and you were
You're
not ready
going
for
to
this.
jail.
Like, yeah, hit a gym. I'm begging. Work on your dexterity,
Yeah, he was a
hand-eye
scrawny, like,
coordination.
wasn't he even getting picked on too? Wasn't there a scene where he got picked on?
Well, he tried to defend Kim and Lou, and well, it was during that assault scene.
Yeah.
And
Now, here's the thing.
Lou and
Did
his
he
3 friends
hold
beat
back?
him down.
Or did he hold back, or was he just really truly?
Well, it looked like he held his own against everyone else except for Lou. But then again, it was more like he took them by surprise. They weren't expecting him. But it's kind of like, well, why didn't anyone else in the cafeteria do anything?
I mean, have you ever seen fights happen? Everybody just stands around.
Yeah, but normally that's when one-on-one. This is like a three-on-one kind of deal.
That is true. That is true. Well,
And it is jarring as hell seeing Leslie Nielsen play a serious character.
yeah, like you pointing it out, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like I didn't even catch that. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm sure he was a serious actor before, Airplane and Naked Gun.
But now
But
he
it is
became more
yeah.
famous for that and changed everything.
It's jarring to see him play serious.
That is true. Who's an actor in our like age range now that's like that, where you're so used to him being in one role, you can't take him serious in another role.
I don't know if you want to count him, but Robin Williams. It's jarring when you see him in like SVU, and he's like the psychotic killer kind of deal.
That's true. I'm trying to think.
He did a 24-hour photo too, where he's similar to that.
I'm trying to think of a couple others, but yeah, I get the point. Well, then we jumped to 2008.
In a very different movie.
A very different movie. I think we all agree on that. Pretty much the only thing that's the same is the title.
Yeah, well, and Prom Night. I mean,
well, yeah, but
we don't have a disco scene here,
so go for it.
We open up to a teen girl getting dropped off at home. To the horror of her friends, she's thinking of skipping cheerleading this year.
Oh,
That's gonna be the least of her problems in about 2 minutes. She goes in, and unbeknownst to her, her dad is deceased on the living room floor. She does find her dead brother, though. And she's about to run to her mom's room when she hears fighting in there, so she retreats back to her room and hides under the bed. And her mom is runs in and tries to shut out the killer, but he breaks in and takes her down. And her mom sees her under the bed, and she kind of screams no more at her than the killer who's demanding to know where the daughter is. And when she says she's at a sleepover, she watches her mom being murdered. And the killer gets up and he leaves, and she hears a cop car, so she goes running out to get his attention. The cop car kind of drives away, and she turns around and he's standing right there. And that's when she kind of snaps back to present day. She's recounting this to a therapist. It's a dream she's been having. And we find out that it was her teacher at the time who became obsessed with her and killed her family and was going to abduct her. Very different movie.
Much different. Somebody's definitely going to jail.
And the psychiatrist is a very good psychiatrist. She's like, look, this memory is going to be with you forever. It's going to come and go. Much like tonight, but for a much different reason, because it's prom night. It's going to be a great time for her. And it's a transition into a new beginning for her. And we catch up with some of her friends. This is where it came from. Back at home, she's waiting, and her aunt, she's been taken in by her aunt and uncle. And her date, Bobby, shows up. And they go out, and they head off to prom. And we meet up with Detective Wynn, who gets to call that the deranged teacher, Fenton, has escaped.
3 days. That was his argument.
It took 3 days.
I 100% agree. Would you not, he escaped, was it an institution or prison?
He was institutionalized because the jury found him guilty of insanity.
Okay. But nevertheless, the hospital calls the lead detective that put him in jail 3 days later. I'm pretty sure that everybody else could escape that hospital if they were that bad.
I'm not gonna lock me up there,
I'll get out next week. I'll be back.
But they show up to the hotel where prom is being had. And sure enough, the teacher's there. He's at the front desk. Mm-hmm. And he finds out where their rooms are because their one friend picks up the keys and loudly announces what room they're for and everything.
That's always a smart thing.
That's great. So
I'm on room 602.
So Fenton gets a room on the same hall. And he sees the maid, I won't say.
Housekeeper.
He calls her over, and she's dead, so we can get her MasterCard. So back down to prom, everyone's having a bit of a good time. But Claire and her boyfriend get into it, so she goes up to the room to get pills for her. And Claire luckily shows up because she's in the room with Fenton at the time. She didn't know it. But she dips out, and Claire's going to follow after her, but Claire's not going to make it. She's going to die in the bathroom. And then from there, it's a downfall of friends. Because Mike, Claire's boyfriend, goes up, and he's taken out. Wynn is actually on site now. Him and a couple of cops are keeping eye on everything. But the front desk guy doesn't recognize the picture because, he shaved his face and cut his hair. But Wynn is keeping an eye on the prom anyways. They're not telling Donna that Fenton is loose because they want her to have her night and not be afraid. So, Mike, Claire's boyfriend, goes up to try to find her. He's taken out next. The front desk can't find the housekeeper, so he sends another one up. He's down too. And that's when her friend Lisa and her boyfriend go up to the room. And Lisa and Fenton pass each other. And it kind of gets into Lisa's head like, I've seen those eyes before.
Yeah.
And as she interrupts, her and her boyfriend sharing an intimate moment, when it dawns on her, oh shit, that was Fenton. So she goes running down to try to warn Donna, but she ain't making it either. She
and
runs
sadly,
into Fenton.
she won the prom queen.
Yeah, it's sad she did win prom queen.
With her rival's boyfriend as the king. That was...
Yeah, because there's a fun little rivalry between her and Chrissy.
I don't know if it was fun. They were...
Yeah,
that was a real rivalry.
It was fun for me.
Yeah, tits are all out. Well, yeah, but you're basic, so...
She has to know she can't buy everything.
Yeah.
Because her dad is the one who paid for prom. Because they went over $100,000 on the budget. Good lord.
What the hell was the budget to begin with?
What school are you at? I didn't go to prom, so I'm guessing
Neither did I.
This is not what prom looks supposed to be.
No. Jesus.
But,
100,000.
Wynn and them find a car in the back lot with a body in it. So now it's in full panic mode. They pull the alarm to evacuate. They're going to sweep it. They're going to grab Donna and get her out of there. But they can't find Donna. She'd gone back up to her room to get her mother shot. And Fenton's there. And a fight breaks out between the two of them. She runs out into Wynn. And they rush her out. But Wynn slips out too in all the chaos, dressed in the bellhop's clothes, looks on. Oh, they get her home. Wynn is searching the entire hotel. And just as it's dawning on him when Fenton escaped, and he's rushing to Donna's house, Fenton's already at the house. He took out the cops who were surveying the building. Mm-hmm. He's taken out Bobby, and he's got her trapped in the closet. But she fights them off again. They get out and they spill out back into her room. He's about to stab her whenever Wynn shoots her, and we end the movie with them consoling her, telling her everything's going to be okay.
At this point, yeah, because everybody else is dead, besides the uncle and aunt.
Alright.
Whoa. Okay, let's get to it.
I like the more demented side of this, with the teacher being obsessed with the student, more than the kids, because there are too many plot holes with that story from the original.
Yeah, I agree with that, because in all honesty, like, you look at, like, the 10 and 11-year-old story arc, or whatever how they were.
Yeah.
You're like, damn well the little brother would have ran and told somebody, and
yeah.
You could have found a way to clean up the wrong.
It would have come out from one of these kids.
Absolutely. Definitely at some point when other ones are starting to feel remorse or they never wanted to do it at the beginning. And by all accounts, it was just a bad accident.
Yeah. This feels much more like a complete story.
Yes. And it's touched upon at times, there's relationships like that in schools, that's twisted and demented, and you really touch upon it. So you're adding like more of a real element to the story. I like the pacing of this.
Yeah, they weren't playing around. Just get to the point.
Yeah, That is one thing I really did like, was that it wasn't like a build up. It was plain and simple. 87 minutes long. Gone through it.
Also, like, I thought the PG-13 side of this would hurt it, especially when you're going against an 80s slasher.
Yeah.
But honestly, they don't really show you much in the 80s one either.
Was the 81's rated R?
I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
I mean, I think, of course, guidelines changed back then, but now I'm drawing. I don't remember it.
Yes, it is.
It's rated
It's
R.
R-rated.
What?
Yeah, it's R-rated.
I gotta look up and see if they changed like guidelines over the years.
This isn't overtly gory. You see just enough to know what's happening. But like some of the points, like when Claire's death, it was like much more impactful, where it's just a closed door and you hear her screaming.
Yeah.
That seemed like much more impactful than anything they could have really showed you.
Right.
I thought the acting in this was better. You had obviously like Brittany Snow, who was Donna, and Idris Elba. I was not expecting his name to come up in this series, but here he is, Idris.
We literally said his name a lot. This
Dana Davis, who played Lisa, I thought she was really good. Honestly, I think that's the biggest flaw with this movie, though. What point? Like, I get some movies have bad endings, and this could be considered a bad ending because she once again is starting from scratch. The only closing thing she has here is Fenton is dead.
That's it.
I feel like she has suffered enough, and she should have been left with somebody. Maybe
her aunt and uncle.
Well, beside that, I mean her peer group, and
her friend's boyfriend.
Well, yeah, but he seems miserable. Yeah. He's dying on the corner. I think that they should have. I'm not gonna say they should have let Bobby live, because I thought that reveal was a lot of fun. Was finding him dead on the bed.
Thank you, Bobby, for being here with me.
I think it would have been more impactful for them to have killed Lisa's boyfriend and spared Lisa. Because then that would have been her rock, because Lisa was there at the beginning.
Lisa was her best friend.
Yes, and she's still here at the end.
Because you could tell, like, all the boyfriends and the secondary friends didn't know about this.
Yeah.
Lisa knew. She's like, that's when, like, when she recognized him, then was like, it's him, and literally cut her time with her boyfriend short. And maybe this, I don't know when you're gonna have this video scheduled with us reviewing Twilight and all that. But what the hell's with these?
This will be the following week.
Okay, what the hell is with these like 18-year-old wanting marriages and engaged? Because he had a ring.
I knew a few people back in high school who were all that way. Well, do you? I don't care.
Yes, but I'm just like, I wasn't mature enough to be married at 18.
I don't know how.
Not at 30 either, but
I don't know how well any of those marriages lasted. So.
Well, we know one that didn't even get started because Lisa died. But yeah,
I think that's the biggest crank in this. Is like,
she
suffered more than enough. She should have been left with one other person.
That is true. So.
Great. All right, 1980. What do you got?
So I'm giving it a C. I did like the storyline, even though they could have executed it better. I feel like it got lost in it's a film that's there. So I'm giving it a C at like 75.
I'm giving it a C minus.
Okay.
I really didn't care for it all that much. I'm sure there's some redeeming qualities. It was funny. It was certainly funny watching the killer trying to take down Slick. Good lord. Him like racing after the van because he got kicked out of it.
Entertaining to say the least. All right, Prom Night, 2008.
What do you got?
I do think this is a better film. So let me state that it's getting a slightly 1% higher.
Oh, for God's sakes.
It's getting a 76. I don't feel like I do like the teacher storyline. I do like the pacing, but I felt like this was more of an action thriller the way they went about it rather than a slasher film.
Yeah.
To where the 80s one did they didn't execute it good, but it was a more of a slasher horror film. Brittany Snow, Idris Elba. I think the cast, like the two main stars, is like you have on our board with the main stars of each film, was there. Brittany Snow is kind of like an average actress. I'm not saying this movie fell flat with me. It did enough to be better. I'll say that much. And that's my legitly saying 76% C plus.
I'm giving it a B.
B.
Mm-hmm.
High B or like 80 or
85 up.
Okay.
Big difference. Big
so
difference.
Once again, we are back on the
remake train once again.
My God. Do you have any ones already pre-planned for our next?
Well, I didn't, but I can remember my list of movies that we need to review. We're gonna go Wicker Man next.
Is that a Nicolas Cage film?
Wicker Man is the Nicolas Cage one. The bees, not the bees.
All right, so I'm going with the original. So right there, it's over. Anything Nicolas Cage? When did this film come out?
I don't remember.
Okay, this is like 2000.
We'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
Today's winner, Prom Night 2008.
Prom Night 2008. Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.